Ooh, I see a Dota. I see a Dota. We have a Warrior Lock Paladin going up against a Turbo Cleave. Let me just go ahead and make sure both teams know what it is they're facing.
We're going to see Lock God TKO's debut in this tournament. I think this is his first time playing, right?
In our tournament, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how he does. I want to inspect him. He is playing Mortal Coil, so we're going to see a Warlock with a Death Coil.
Oh, you're so happy right now, man.
He's pulling on my heartstrings. I love it. I don't know who they're going to go, but now they have all kinds of CC chains with the Hodge Death Coil. That's a long time to be getting chunked down by a Warlock and a Warrior.
Yes.
It's 9 seconds.
I'm excited to see how this comp plays with the Holy Paladin. But we're going to find out here in just 3 seconds. Oh, wait. Oh, the names are incorrect. That is my bad. I think I just didn't save it. So Mystic on the Warrior, charging right in on the Tony. He wants to get on this Enhancement Shaman. It looks like Elite getting charged by Losa. And that he pushes in and gets the full Hodge onto Supatease, but it looks like they're going to swap the damage over onto Losa. Supatease is out of that CC now at this point, but Dota is starting to get that. Oh, there's the Shockwave onto Elite. This team's getting offensives. This is the Recklessness onto Elite. He's going to be forced to use that wall. He's topping himself off quite nicely here at this point with the Execution Sentence, and it looks like he's going to be okay for now.
Yeah, Mystic popping that avatar at the moment, but he didn't use his Recklessness. We saw him do this in the last series where he kind of likes to stagger his cooldowns a little bit. And right now this Turbo Cleave is just sitting on Elite, and I think they can do that, but Elite now popping his wings, being probably going to be able to top himself off here. Dota using his second Demon Soul as well as the Recklessness coming out of Mystic. And like I said, if they're going to be sitting on Elite, this team is going to fall further and further behind. WLS does so much damage, especially if Dota just gets to sit here and spam as many Fears and Haunts as he wants. It's going to be really hard for Supatease to keep his team up. Tony Jr. now popping his Shamanistic Rage. Losa down to around 40% HP, and this WLP doing so much damage. Mystic getting so much damage out right now, but the cooldowns of Mystic are going to fade. Supatease should be able to stabilize right now, has full thoughts on his entire team, and both teams look like they have stabilized.
Yeah, man, I'm scared if they're going to go on Elite. Elite is going to rotate through his defensive cooldowns beautifully. The Shockwave, triple Shockwave goes out. Elite now getting chunked down to 30% health here, but he's holding on to all those defensive cooldowns. Just using Wall and Save by the Light proccing with a Hellstone, and he's going to get away completely fine. The Shockwave goes out into Tony. Supatease now taking a lot of damage. He's going to just go ahead and press the Barkskin and not risk it. The Bash goes out onto Mystic. Mystic's jumping right back onto Supatease, though. Supatease is going to find it hard to heal through this Warrior Lock damage very, very soon. Elite now taking some damage from the Turbo. They swap it back over to him with the Shockwave. Elite just doing a really great job getting away from this Turbo with his Sportin, but not only that, but rotating through his defensive cooldowns to get ready for a long game, as they do have the advantage in a late game with Warrior Lock.
The Supatease could be in trouble here. He has no Barskin, no Trinket available. If he gets caught in a Hodge Death Coil, it could be the end. Dota does have that Death Coil up and ready to go. Tony puts him in the full Hex. He's going to Trinket that. Demon Soul is up. But now Supatease caught into the full Hodge, and Dota does have the coil available. Like I was saying, this could just be the end. He's down to around 40% HP, but Tony's spamming out those heals. Catches some huge heals from Tony, gets Death Coiled. Still in bear form, though. Very, very tanky. Has the additional health and armor because of that. Elite now falling a little bit behind, but he has that Avenging Wrath up, going to be able to top himself out. Supatease not out of the woods yet now. Finally gets away. He has to pop that Barkskin, around 40% HP. Almost got into execute range there, but he is going to get away. Mystic no longer able to connect to him, but those swaps are really scary with the Hodge Death Coil.
Yeah, these teams are trading blow for blow. They're going into Supatease, and Supatease used all his defensive cooldowns, but it's got a short cooldown. Elite, though, during all that, was forced to bubble. Elite now at 57% health here. I'm not sure if these trades are going to be that efficient if it's going to continue that way. Losa now with his Recklessness up. He wants to get offensive. Elite has Aura Mastery, but it's going to fade as that offensive fear comes out. Elite now, he's in a little bit of trouble. He's at 40% health here. He doesn't have bubble available to him, but he does have the bop, so it's not going to do much against the Enhancement Shaman. The Shockwave goes out to Save by the Light. He's at 38% health here. Losa and Tony are just being relentless. Elite just trying to get away to cast. The wall comes out as well. Supatease put into that coil, and his team starting to rot. But Elite's mana is quite nice. Mystic now using that Recklessness, but he's getting dropped down to 40% health here. But that was the fear and the Hodge on the Supatease. Supatease is just going to Trinket right away. He's not going to risk that swap, and the Barkskin does come out, but this Turbo's starting to feel the pressure, the cross pressure of this Warlock.
Yeah, Dota has his Dark Soul coming up in around 20 seconds, and Supatease is going to have no Barskin and no Trinket for the next swap on him, so he's going to have to make sure he's in bear form, or he's probably just going to end up dying. He's still just getting trained down, can't catch himself up. Gonna finally use that bear sprint to get away, but Mystic just being relentless on him right now. Gets caught into the full root from Supatease, so he's not going to be able to connect for a little bit. And Elite taking damage now, but he does have that Avenging Wrath up. His heals are going to be extra powerful. Is going to get some casts off, be able to top himself off. Dota now popping that Dark Skull, and Supatease could be in a lot of trouble. Here comes the full Hodge. They are swapping out onto him. The Death Coil will surely come out of that. There it is. But it's Tony Jr. just spamming out those heals, and Supatease is going to be fine because of that. I really think if they're going to make these Supatease swaps work, they're going to have to lock out Tony Jr. and get some sort of cross CC on him, or he's just not going to die through that Enhancement Shaman heals.
Yeah, not anytime soon. Not until dampening, at least. Elite now, he's doing a great job preventing these kicks. I think he only got kicked once. That's the full shockwave onto him, though, and he is dipping down quite low. The DR bash comes out from Supatease. They want to get offensive. Holy Light coming out from Elite, though, as the double shockwave comes out from Mystic, letting his Paladin breathe there. Execution sentence now falling onto Elite. He's at 50% health here regardless. He's getting dipped down pretty low. The wall comes out, saved by the Light, proccing once again. This turbo is just chunking Elite, but is it going to be enough? Now we're starting at 2% dampening, and this turbo cleave is going to start feeling the pressure of this Warlock Warrior. But that's the fear onto Elite into the full shockwave. He's going to trinket and get that portal away so he can top himself off here. The Avenging Wrath coming out now at this point. He's at 40% health here. He gets the kickoff. I'm not sure on what, and he actually does get interrupted on that cast. He could be in some trouble here, man.
The Supatease caught into the full Hodge right now in big trouble at 30% HP. The DR Shockwave coming out. Dota can get the coil off. There it is. He's in execute range. The Rallying Cry comes out, but will it be enough? Gets to 34% HP and does manage to get away and get some hots on himself. The Rallying Cry is going to fade, but that was so close. Losa saving the day with that Rallying Cry right now. And but at the same time, I mean, these Supatease swaps, it's making it hard to heal the rest of his team. Mystic now popping the recklessness, trying to get out as much damage as possible. Supatease mana hurting a little bit right now at 42%. The full Hodge does come out onto him. He does trinket that immediately. He still has his Barskin and Iron Bark available, but Mystic just going to swap over onto him. Elite popping that wall, trying to prevent a little bit of damage on him. The Aura Mastery coming out so he can get those free casts off. Tony Jr. taking a little bit of pressure right now, down to 40% HP. Supatease actually had to Barskin there as well as Iron Bark. The full fear, Warrior Fear coming out onto Supatease Elite. Still in a little bit of trouble. He does have a bop available. Does use that bubble. Decides to use the bubble. The Avatar coming out from Mystic. Lock God, TKO. Has his Demon Soul up. The spread pressure is going to be insane here. And the next swap on Supatease could be a nightmare. Here it is, the full Hodge. He's loaded up with dots. The Haunt comes in. He surely will get coiled out of this. Actually, there it is. 40% HP, 30% HP, 20% HP. The DR Shockwave comes in. He's in execute range. He could just die. He's getting spam feared by Dota. He does catch some heals from Tony Jr. though, and he's finally going to get away by the skin of his teeth once again. But Elite under a little bit of pressure, now popping those wings. He's going to be able to top his whole team off, and Tony from the Bronx feeling the heat from this WLP.
Yeah, we're at 13% dampening here. The triple fear lands coming out from Losa. Losa, though, he's dipping down. That's the full Hodge on the Supatease. Once again, he has Barkskin and Iron Bark available, but looks like they're actually going on to Losa. Losa using that dive by the sword to prevent future damage from coming in. Elite does have his wings up. He's keeping this Warrior and Lock completely offensive, and man, Supatease is feeling the heat. Everyone's dipping down relatively low here at this point. Tony even trying to use those Tremors preemptively to stop some of the control coming out from this Warrior Lock Paladin team. Elite now taking a bit of damage. He doesn't have a bubble, but he does have a bop here at this point. Tony just unleashing on him, but it's not doing too much. Dota taking a lot of damage. Saved by the Light being procced. That's the region. The double shockwave comes out and the Hellstone from Dota. Mystic does have that die by the sword up, and Supatease at this point is getting chunked by Mystic.
Yeah, Supatease still in a lot of trouble. He just can't get away from Mystic at the moment. He's loaded up with full dots. He's in bear form trying to get away. The coil comes out though. Mystic reconnects. He's down to 20% HP, 14%. If he can get the execute off, he will just die. The beautiful shockwave coming out from Mosa, but Supatease having a really hard time topping himself. Mystic's just desperately trying to get to him. He does reconnect, 17% HP. He gets put into the full bash though. The bash coming out from Supatease, somehow surviving. He's just trying to get away from Mystic. He knows if he gets executed, he's just dead. Able to Iron Bark himself, rooting him again. The plays coming out from Supatease. Meanwhile, Elite taking a little bit of damage, but this is the Demon Soul. Losa, Tony, and Supatease all on the back foot, and Elite just dies! What the?
What the? I can't believe
still
it.
in trouble. Yeah, I actually can't believe that just happened. I wasn't even paying attention, and he fell over dead. I guess he ran out of cooldown. Supatease making the plays there to survive. He played that beautifully.
I can't believe Supatease survived, man. That's unfreaking believable that he did. Wow. Wow. Crazy. Let's take a quick look at that replay. Keep an eye on Supatease. Supatease has no health at all. He gets dipped down to execute range so many times. He actually presses execute, but or no, he doesn't press execute. He gets put into that bash. That bash was just so clutch. Elite though, he's in trouble in the background. Keep an eye on him. The Saved by the Light has already procced Avenging Wrath coming out. The charge stun on his cast. He's trying to get the Word of Glory out, but he couldn't do it. He got dipped down to execute range, and he's gonna get executed. Couldn't slip away. But man, whoa, what a game. All right, so that's going to be the very first game of this best of 3 series. And looks like Team Tony from the Bronx is going to lead the pack with 1-0.
I mean, despite them losing that game, they had so much pressure, and Supatease is in execute range many times. That could have easily gone the other way. He just got to connect and use that execute button. That was really close for a long time.
I honestly felt like the pressure was in the Warrior Lock Paladin's team.
Oh, for sure.
When that happened. But execute's a good button, man. Alright, guys, the next map of this best of 3 series is going to be on Ruins of Lordaeron. I don't even know what I ate today, but it's really burpy.
It's really burpy.
It's not good for casting.
Spinny spin.
Spinny spin. There's lots of spinny spins in this series.
Gassed up, dude. Maybe it was Mob Spaghetti.
Mob Spaghetti, that's what I ate. Oh man, so this is Ruins of Lordaeron chosen by the Warrior Lock Paladin team. This is going to make life hard for Supa.
Yeah, Supatease has nowhere to go. Like, he's not going to have a pillow to run around and root Mystic and like bring him back and bash him. He's going to be in the open. He's going to be loaded up with dots the entire game. And I mean, I don't feel like that really helps. I mean, Elite having a pillar doesn't really help him nearly as much as Supatease having a pillar, because Elite doesn't really get away. He's just tanking damage usually the whole game. Where Supatease actually does get away and gets the pillar.
He needs to survive, yeah. Oh, the shockwave going out onto Tony, but Losa dodging it. The fear onto Elite and Dota, but Elite's actually going to get broken out of it, and the triple shockwave coming up for Losa. Losa's got the recklessness up, and Elite's just getting chunked now. There's the Anu. Saved by the Light being procced on to Elite. He's going to use the execution sentence. He's going to be okay for now. Supatease, though, he's in the middle of the map, and that's recklessness coming out from the enemy warrior. Supatease is going to get away with that bark skin, though, and he's going to be completely fine.
Yeah, Lock Odds, Demon Souls gonna fade. Mystic's offensive cooldowns are gonna fade. He still has his avatar though ready to go, and Supatease has no bark skin and no trinkets. So the next time Hodge coils up, it could be big trouble for Supatease. I'm gonna be looking for them to get some Ferocity on a Tony Jr., maybe a Fear. He doesn't have trinket either. If they set this up, it'll be a nightmare for Supatease. Elite able to get away. They're trying to pressure Lock God TKO a little bit right now. But I don't think they'll actually end up committing to him, and they're going to want to get back up onto Elite as soon as possible. Elite now popping that Avenging Wrath. They do swap back over to him. He's going to be able to top himself off with that Avenging Wrath. But Supatease just sitting back, making sure he doesn't get HOTS. He runs in bear form, purposely gets HOTS in bear form, which was a smart move. The safeguard coming out from Losa on Supatease right now. He does get caught in that coil, and because he got HOTS in bear form, he's going to be just fine, going to be able to HOT himself up. Mystic still has that avatar available. The second Demon Soul fading from Lockout TKO, but Supatease's entire team is rotting right now. Tony Jr. down to 70%, Supatease still at 50%, but looks like they are going to stabilize at the moment.
Yeah, Supatease getting locked out on that Cyclone and then put into that Fear. Tony just instantly just going to go ahead and use that Shaman Rage as he's dipping down a little bit low here at this point. Supatease into another Fear, but it's going to break. Losa and Tony dipping rather low here. Dota just really doing a great job getting those dots out. The full Hodge goes on the Supatease. They might want to swap. Nope, they're just using it for CC. Elite now, he's forced to get away. He's forced to use that portal as he is dipping relatively low. Dota has that Hand of Sacrifice on him now at this point. Elite doing a great job just preventing that damage coming out from the enhance, but I believe it does get purged up. Oh no, it's still there. The double shockwave goes out onto Elite, and Saved by the Light's going to proc on Elite once again. He's going to use wall and run into the room and be safe in here, but Losa's right on his tail. He trinkets and gets right back on top of him, and he's going to force the bubble.
And Dota popping that Demon Soul, trying to get some counter pressure going on. The Iron Bark getting a fade from Tony in around 4 seconds. But Supatease just sitting back. He knows like he's really the only target of choice for this WLP, so he's making sure he keeps HOTS on himself, making sure he plays very conservative, bashing Lockout TKO, but he is caught into that full fear, and this might be the swap that they're looking for. Elite under so much pressure, though. Avenging Wrath coming out from him. He's going to be able to get some casts off. The interrupts are down for both Losa and Tony Jr. Tony Jr. is the one being attacked right now. Uses that Strom Rage as well as gets topped off right away. Supatease using that Barkskin. He has no Trinket Barkskin for future swaps. Mystic has that Avatar up right now, so he's going to be doing a little bit of extra damage. Elite swings finally fade, and he's still at around 60% caught into that full Shockwave. He has Trinket available. His Gateway cooldown is almost up, but he could just die. He uses that Ore Mastery, spamming out as many heals as possible. Saber the Light procking there, and his Gateway is finally up. He's going to have to make his way to that. Oh, there's a Saber the Light, pardon me. Supatease caught into that full Hodge. Tony Jr. taking a little bit of damage right now. Supatease caught into the full fear, but it is going to get tremored, I believe, by Tony Jr., who has that Ascendance up. He just popped his Ascendance, and they're going to be looking to get onto Elite as soon as possible. He just uses Gateway cooldown, and Losa and Tony Jr. are both going to be able to connect to your Lock God, caught into a full clone, not going to be able to peel at all. Elite popping that shield wall. He has one bop available. That's all the cooldowns he has left. This could be big trouble for him. Mystic and Lock God have to do something. They have to get some pressure rolling, but it's so hard. Supatease now in bear form, getting hodged in bear form once again, and Mystic just not able to chunk his HP because he's in that tanky bear form. Mystic going to get rooted up, and Elite still under a lot of pressure. His mana is going to start suffering. We still have a minute into dampening, but both teams under so much pressure at the moment. Losa down to around 40% HP, going to pop that in Rage Regen. Supatease spamming out those heals on him. He should be fine. I think he still has his parry up. Lock God now caught into the full hex. He's not going to have a way to break that. Elite under so much pressure pops that wings. He might be able to top off here. Gets feared on his heel. Just trying to fake cast over and over. The full shockwave comes out from Losa onto Elite. Dota using that Death Coil defensively onto Losa at the moment. Supatease caught into the full Hodge. Just going to trinket that to keep Losa aggressive. They just smell blood in the water. They want to kill Elite so bad. Sable the Light as well as Bop coming out from Elite. And now he has nothing left with Bop. His bubble is coming up in 8 seconds, but he's not going to be able to use that until his Forbearance cooldown in around 25 seconds gets off. And I mean, if we look at the mana of both healers, Supatease at 45% mana, Elite at 45% mana, dampening just kicking in now. I don't think this game is going to be going too much longer.
The Shockwave onto Elite now is at 50% healthier, but Bubble is finally available again for him. Dota now at 40% healthier. He's getting cleaved with this. Losa is using that Recklessness. Supatease is in that Hodge. Elite just trying to get away from these two melee as desperately as he possibly can. He's trying to juke for days. He hasn't been interrupted on many casts, but he's forced to use his Bubble. Recklessness is coming out from Mystic as well, but he's put into that bash, preventing a lot of that damage. Supatease, he's sitting in that bear form waiting for these swaps on Ruins of Order on a very, very smart play. The triple fear coming out from Mystic. Losa, though, he did get broken out of it, and he gets the triple shockwave. Elite still taking quite a bit of damage. Both teams just doing a great job with the spread pressure. There's the triple DR fear onto Supatease. Losa now in that Barkskin. Supatease just desperately trying to make sure to keep his team is completely dot free. Mystic dropping down to 45% healthier. He's going to go ahead and sit in that defensive stance, though. Avatar coming out for Losa. He wants to get offensive, but I mean, Supatease is gaining mana out of these exchanges.
Yeah, both healers actually haven't really gone down a mana since the last time I talked. Supatease now caught into the full Fist of Justice. Elite down to 50% HP. He does have Trinket and Aura Mastery available. His Avenging Wrath is up. He's going to be able to top himself off a little bit. And like I said, he still has his Trinket. He still has his Aura Mastery up. He's going to have to rotate those well. He does Trinket the Bash coming in from Supatease. Now, only thing he has available for a long time is his Aura Mastery. So he's going to have to get juking and get those heals out. The Shockwave coming on, though. He gets offensively cloned there by Supatease. The Dark Soul coming out from Lockout TKO, trying to get some counter pressure out. The Tremor Totem coming in from Supatease, but now Supatease caught into the full Hodge. They're not going to go on him. They're going to be pressuring Tony Jr. as well as Losa. But I mean, Tony Jr. still has a Shaman wall available, and I feel like if they're going to get a kill, it has to be on Supatease. They're just not going to be able to pressure these DPS enough, I don't think, until a little bit perhaps later in dampening. I could be wrong about that, but Tony Jr. still has his Shamanistic wall up, as well as Losa having his parry, and meanwhile Elite is taking a lot of damage, down to 40% HP, doesn't have Bubble available for another 36 seconds, down to 20%. Bash, the rallying cry comes in from Mystic, but he's just going to die. And they just weren't really able to get anything going that game. Supatease just sitting back knowing he's really the only target of choice and could just play ultra conservative. And he played it the way he had to.
Absolutely, making sure to be in that bear form, and he did a great job dispelling all those dots to stop the momentum of these these Warlock dots. Take a quick look at Elite right here. Elite, he is completely fine at this point, but look at his defensive cooldowns. He's got like nothing. He's got wall pretty soon here, but the lockout is really what killed him. That's the lockout right there on the flash, but he never gets locked out ever. The Rallying Kai comes out, but Elite is put into that bash from Supatease, and he's gonna go down, and that is going to be a 2-0 from Tony from the Bronx, and they will advance in tournament number 10.
Yeah.
Oh.